May the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Please be seated. We are people who like choices. We like to have choices. Plastic or paper? 10 speed, 15 speed. How many speeds do they come, Paul? 20 speeds, yes. We like to have choices. Do you want all season or snow tires? Then there's those choices that confuse me. Venti or Grande, and I can never remember which one's bigger and which one's smaller. And if you go to some places, they don't even give you the option of small anymore. It's, do you want the normal, which is pretty big, or supersize? Choices. We like to have options. Choices is the issue before the Israelites today in the reading from Deuteronomy. Moses and the people have been traveling through the wilderness, and they're on the brink of entering the promised land. They're standing there at the Jordan, and Moses, the entire book of Deuteronomy is his final words to them. It's his last sermon. It's 26 chapters long. I promise you this sermon won't go anywhere near the length, but it's not my last one here either. So. But it's his last words to them. And he's spent a lot of time laying out his dreams, his visions, the God's commandments. And then he comes, so he says, so I've set before you today. So he's referring to everything that he's been talking about. I've set before you today life and prosperity. A better translation of that, prosperity, we tag too much into whether we have money or not. Life and good things. Life and good things. Death and bad things. You go, okay, life is good. I got the t-shirt that says, life is good, I'll choose life. I mean, it seems like an easy answer. I've set before you life and good things, death and bad things. If you obey the commandments of the Lord your God that I am commanding you today, loving the Lord your God, walking in his ways, observing his commandments, then you shall live. You shall live. He's taken them through, reminded them throughout the speech that he has with them of their whole history, of where it's happened to them, what God has done for them. And he's worried about what's going to come next. You know, it's one thing to know that you rely on God when you have to get up every morning and pick up the manna off the ground so that you can eat. But when you have planted the seed and weeded and nurtured and harvested, it's too easy to forget that God's behind it. Choose life is a big statement. You go, well, I want more options than that then. Choose life or choose death. That seems, and that's not the kind of questions I get asked every day. But it is. The things that Moses has laid out for them, back in the 15th chapter, what does it mean to follow in the ways of God? In the 15th chapter, he talks about canceling the debts of the poor. It's choosing life. Moves on to the 16th chapter, push the government to guard against excessive wealth. Watch how you structure yourself. That's choosing life. The 19th chapter, limit punishment. You've heard those said, an eye for an eye. Limited punishment to protect human dignity. The 20th chapter, restricting those who can be drafted. I mean, there's all kinds of issues that are all a part of this that he brings together here. The 25th chapter, he talks about offering hospitality to runaway slaves. Shouldn't you capture them and send them back? 24th chapter, paying employees fairly is choosing life. Stop that. Yeah, it hits home, doesn't it?
I've been watching the news.
Leave part of the harvest behind. Don't Don't harvest all the way to the edges of your fields. Leave it for the needy. Choose life. Well, I don't harvest. You know me, I don't have a green thumb. I don't even have a garden. So does that apply to me? If my harvest is what, your paycheck comes in, you say, mine doesn't actually read this way, but you work this many hours, you've earned this. How do you leave some of that out there on the margins for the needy? Choose life. It's the same kind of things that Jesus is talking about in the Gospel of Matthew. It's not about just obeying the law. Yep, this week, no adultery, no murder, I'm okay. That's not what's eating away at your life. It's the anger that you hold inside of yourself that is killing you. Choose life. What does it look like for us to choose life? We choose death when we ignore God and substitute something much more inferior. Choosing life is that daily choice, not normally presented to us in those kind of terms. But when I choose to elevate something else in my life as the ultimate, I have not chosen God, I have not chosen life. Death is that slow, daily process of giving ourselves over to the things that don't really matter. Choose life. Choose life. What does it look like? So you're walking down the streets of Boston. I haven't seen it happening too often here in North Conway. Maybe my eyes aren't open. And there's someone there with the can or the hat. What does it mean to choose life? It might not mean dropping the money right there, but it means being aware and open and saying, what am I doing with my life that is handling and taking care of the poor? Choosing life is not just choosing to go by and saying, I'm not giving him money, he's not going to use it right. But it's allowing my heart to be transformed so that I can work in ways that might help change. Tell me about your birthday party yesterday. What is this stuff in the back of the church? There's no way the ushers are bringing the food for the food pantry forward today for the offering. There are, do you know how many cans? Have no clue. You had a hard time carrying it all in. How does that have to do with your birthday? But it showed up with your birthday party? Yeah. Why? You didn't want presents. I didn't know this was happening until they came in with this food today. You didn't want presents. Choose life. Choose life. You chose life. In a way, I'm going to cry. I didn't want presents. How old are you? How many of us can say we have chosen that wisely? I don't need stuff. Your folks make sure you got that, don't they? I didn't want presents. And so all this canned goods, all this food came because yesterday she chose life. Happy birthday. The little decisions we make, the things we choose every day of how we structure our lives, of what's important, and how we open our eyes to see is choosing life. to see that there are those who don't have. And I got enough. And I don't know if there's any of us in this room that can't say that we've got enough. Choose life. That's what it looks like. When we choose to not let ourselves be the sum total of our lives, when we open our hands to God, we open our hands to this world. When we choose not to let resentments and hurts and angers eat us from the inside, when we take Jesus' words to heart and we realize it's not about putting our money in the offering plate that puts us right with God, but getting up and going out and being reconciled to the one who has something against us, then we can come with joy because we have chosen life. So today is set before you a choice that is set before you each morning as you choose how you gain your wealth and how you use it. How you treat the person in front of you on the street, the one checking out your groceries at the store. Each decision we make, if we choose God and God's way, is choosing life and good things. Choose life that you might live.